Hey everyone, welcome to Up Till Now. Today I'm with Colin Francis from Lifecycle. Hello, Colin. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, of course. To start slowly, just maybe tell us a bit more about you and your quite innovative and hard project.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. So, I'm an entrepreneur, first and foremost. I'm the CEO and co-founder of a company called LabCycle. We are the first company in the world recycling contaminated plastic waste from laboratories. It's a massive problem. Over 5.5 million tons generated every single year. And the current market solution for this is incineration. The linear economy, highly damaging to the environment. It doesn't retain the value of the high-grade materials within the supply chain. And secondly, I'm also a board of trustee here at Up.
There's a lot of connection here.
Yeah.
Very nice. I know you live in Croydon also, so very, very local,
Yep.
which is nice. And obviously, the project amazing from a life cycle, but it sounds very good. Probably not easy. And how did you end up there? You told me it was quite a journey.
Yeah,
Let's say.
yeah. I definitely say that maybe even be an understatement, if you will. It definitely takes its twists and turns. You know, the journey of entrepreneurship is never linear. There's always many pivots you have to take, and you have to stay adaptable to this. And that's something I'll always be an advocate for. But yeah, as you alluded to, I started off here in Croydon. So I went to school around the corner at St. Mary's. My parents moved here in '86, and we've always lived in Croydon since. So I'll definitely say humble beginnings. I studied into St. Joseph's after that. And moving forward from that, I had my first job just across the road in Currys as well.
So British. And no, very nice. No, you're really as a local boy that become entrepreneur. So the success story, yeah. But yeah, you told me. So obviously you went to Curry, you went to uni, and then a few experience before going back to uni, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And what I would say is I learned so many valuable lessons along the way. Every part of the journey was something I was looking to take with me and bring it forward and use that as a skill, right? So I have this idea or this philosophy that I definitely believe in that I've heard of, where you have these 5 buckets in life and you have to fill your buckets in the right order in order to reach your full potential. You can't fill other people's buckets when your buckets are empty. So the first one is what you know, right? And this is typically your formal education. Maybe this would be from university or school. After that, it's what you can do. So it's your skills. And this would probably relate to when I was at Currys, right? When I was first learning how to sell. So I worked in the computer department, right? And I was normal salesperson there. After about 6 months, I was promoted team leader. And they made the big mistake of letting me hire whoever I wanted. So I then went on and hired all my friends. Absolutely brilliant. Challenging in its own ways. When you're 18 years old and you have a team, but you have targets and deliverables.
Yeah, if you're as a leader, you go from friend that does a fun thing with the gang, and then to no guys, I'm responsible.
Absolutely. And then this leads on to your third bucket, which is who you know. And this is building your network within, the remit or the industry you're in. And typically this was me connecting through the different branches. And I didn't know I was filling these buckets. It was more so a natural process with it. And then what comes after that is your resources. And then after that is what people think of you, your reputation. And once you build these buckets, you build this trust in yourself. A typical explanation is with Elon Musk, who's managed to fill all of his buckets. Now he can go on and sell his products without people even know. He hasn't even built it yet. And people will pay him for it because he's built all the way up to his reputation. He can do it that way.
Yeah, that's very true. Now, anything was a stamp of him, or same with Sam Altman from OpenAI.
Yeah,
now
absolutely.
they can go with anything, a PowerPoint of one page, and people, well, it's slide deck nowadays one page, and people would just give them billions because they have proven themselves, and also to say they know everyone.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so basically, if we go over the bucket, so yeah, hard skills, soft skills.
Yeah.
Because then it's resources and who you know. So connection, networking.
After your skills,
your resources, so money.
Startup capital.
And then of course the reputation, which is it's sometimes overlooked reputation but it's probably the hardest one because you cannot really train your reputation.
100%, and you have to fill the buckets in the right order. You can't go out and try to have a reputation if you haven't built your skills. And also those first 2 buckets will always be the most important. There may be some sort of change in the market where You could lose your network, you could lose your resources, and maybe even lose your reputation. You have to go and rebuild yourself. But what you've learned and your skills you built from that, you'll never lose. And these are the most important buckets to fill with first. So when I was at Curry's, I was inadvertently building sales skills, and I worked in multiple stores, and it was different demographics to learn different skills. So when I was in Croydon, it was value for money. People wanted to understand the deal they were getting. I worked in several stores, went all the way up into Harrods, where people were more time poor and they wanted the best solution. So you had to learn how to adapt, highlight value, and sell to your customer.
No, very true. It's one of the big issues also when it's skills that you can then easily use for international sales or even business, because if you understand that even in the same city or even borough, sometimes you have to adapt depending who you're talking to.
Absolutely.
Imagine if you work with Sweden and with India, completely different way of talking, of working. And as you say, the first two buckets are the one that you can build yourself. So if you're, good, or you just start working, you start learning and taking all that. Did you have any trouble with the rest? Because as you say, you're a Croydon lad. So sometimes, it's, not everyone has the same card when they start. Obviously, it's how you play them, but sometimes you need to find new cards.
100%. And I believe it's an ongoing process. It's one where you could build your network and your reputation, build your resources with it. But it's one where you have to adapt to the surroundings you're in with it. So my business is based in Bath. I'm based in London. So the different sort of networks you have to build online on that side of things is something you have to be very adaptable to as well.
Very true, very true. And actually we can talk a bit about resources, because since you're in the startup industry, it's one of the, if not the main topic. And going on, for example, with Elon Musk, who is about to have the biggest IPO in the world. So he's good with the resources. But the rest of the startups, the one starting, especially, when you come with an innovative product or innovative solution like you, finding, resources, finding grants or money, it's quite the challenge, which kills actually probably 9 startups after 10.
90% is the step I've heard as well.
It's So how did you, for example, for you, how did you approach that, or did you find a way to overcome that?
Yeah, so perhaps I can give you a bit of an overview of how we started this as well. So my first degree was in biological sciences at Royal Holloway University of London. After this, thought I wanted to combine my science knowledge with my skills that I had and built from sales. So I went into pharmaceutical data sales. It was cold calling Europe, and I absolutely hated it. Right?
It's hard,
I went from, quality over quantity to quantity over quality, and it was soul destroying to me because I had the value to be able to do high ticket sales. And this was just high number sales, right? So I quit, right? And I'm a strong believer in that whilst you're young, quitting is a skill because it allows you to find the path you're in rather than pushing through something that might not be for you. So I left. I thought maybe it was the science I didn't like. So I went into another cold calling sales job. I was a TV and AV specialist for Sharp. It was a very well-paid position. It was a very respected position. And I quit again after about 2 weeks. And again, it was the same basis of cold calling, which wasn't for me. So I made a complete U-turn and I went back to university. And when I did my master's degree in entrepreneurship and innovation management at University of Surrey. And this is where I completely found myself, right? Up until now, I felt like I was trying to push through that door that maybe wasn't the right door for me. Now, whilst I was here, and we're in about 2019 now, and this is really the start of the journey for me in entrepreneurship, I threw myself into every deep end I could because I believed that's how you get out your comfort zone and that's how you learn the fastest, right? So there was this convention in Southampton. It was for entrepreneurship. It was a 3-day event. The first day they teach you a little bit about skills. And the second day, people will go up and they will talk about either businesses they're looking to make or problems they want to solve. And it was very surface level. It was, a boot camp. It wasn't something where you're going to go and make your businesses with this. But I will never forget the moment where my now co-founder went up to the stage with her pipette tips and she started dropping him onto the floor. And for me, it was a deafening silence. And I was wondering, what's she doing? And she started off with 5.5 million tons of single-use plastic waste are generated in the biomedical sector every single year, and they're all incinerated. And this was a real light bulb moment for me, because I realized from my biomedical science days that yes, it's a massive problem, right? So if we were to solve this, it would create incredible impact and it'll be a brilliant business. So I went straight up to her and we started talking, and there was more others in the group at this point. And, we started to work on the idea of how to solve this. And this was 2019. And I would describe this as the naive beginnings, right? But on that note, I would say when you're starting a new venture, naivety is a superpower, right? Recycling in labs has never been done before. And I describe it as a laggard industry. Recycling itself hasn't been around for the longest. It pretty much picked up. Yeah, it picked up post the Second War when people were rationing. And, that's when recycling became a bit more of a thing. However, the industry of laboratory plastic waste is so highly regulated, right? The waste is contaminated, that it's been incinerated for all of these years. But us being young founders with the naivety to go and challenge this, even though, there's industry experts that have their network, that have their resource, that have their reputation, we went and we said, there needs to be a solution for this. And the first solution we made in 2019, I'm gonna be honest with you, wasn't very good, right? It was trying to tackle this. We were trying to get our problem solution fit so we could build our product market fit, and then we can go and scale. We took many pivots, right? The solution changed, I can't tell you the amount of times. But this was a real beginning and the foundations of how we started.
No, it makes sense. Yeah, you need that, as you say, naivety, but to have the courage, because if you're a bit too, how to say that by being polite, too experience in the problems, or the only thing you end up seeing is the stop, all the barriers that you will end up in, but then you end up doing nothing. Yeah. Obviously, doesn't mean all the ideas will work. Well, fortunately for many startups, sometimes, the idea is that bad. But since you're still here, obviously your idea was a good one, still is. Still a long way to go, because they are still burning a lot of plastic. But I can get. Have you had that issue though? Because as you say, it's that industry, pharmaceutical or biomedical, is quite, as you say, very regulated. People with a lot of processes that are in marble, so won't move. And then you're coming with your new idea saying, hey guys, we're going to innovate all of that. I can't imagine they open the door big for you.
You're right. And this is where the next challenge came, the skepticism around this. Waste management companies who currently deal with all of the waste were essentially saying it's impossible. It has to be incinerated. This is how everyone's done it up until now, and this is how they continue to do it, right? Yeah, impossible. I love that one because I love to challenge that, right? And that's what we did. We challenged all of these. Now, the flip side of it is with the labs, and we wanted to go in and start working with them. Labs were very conscious. They have safety operating protocols where they have to abide by their laws. So we really had to chip away at this whilst not having the resources of funding, right? Our first set of funding, if you can call it funding, happened whilst I was at university. So I was studying my entrepreneurship masters. They had a setup called Student Enterprise with its small funding. And I remember I went and I pitched, and a select few people out of a bigger group got the funding. And it was only £500, but it felt like the biggest rush I've ever had in my life. I'll be honest with you.
This is the first stone.
That was
small one, but still.
It was that people were willing to pay me or give me money to go and build this. It was a massive step in my idea that, creating a business is definitely something I wanted to do. Yeah,
basically there was the first one giving you any trust, giving you any credibility.
Absolutely.
And then it sounds also good to say, supported by university. Or
absolutely. We tried to leverage all of that we could, put their logos wherever we could, avoiding anything that was too dangerous. But it allowed us to build on that problem solution thing, getting that business model validation, having some small capital, having that belief was way more than what the funding was, to be completely honest with you. And then we started to do this in the University of Bath, where we started to do it on a single benchtop level.
And since then, so now that we are big on the topic of funding, because obviously you're not creating a software, so you need, a lot of fund for just for the lab, or just to do the testing, even to get with the materials. So bootstrapping has limits, especially 100%. With hardware.
100%.
So what happened there?
So my co-founder and I were working completely without being paid whilst we were building this idea from 2019. in 2021, just after COVID, I graduated from my master's degree. I was awarded the Surrey Business School Award for graduating top of my course. Following this, thank you very much, I then started as an associate lecturer at the University of Surrey, teaching business. And this was during COVID. So completely wild times. That also potentially stagnated the progress we could make because we need to physically be in labs, right? Now, this gave me a subset of skills. But whilst I was teaching, I was also trying to fundraise with my co-founder for the business. And in 2021, we were awarded our pre-seed funding. So this was £250,000 from venture capitalists, angel investors, and we also got a £50,000 Innovate UK grant. Now, my investors said, you have to go full-time. You can't teach anymore. So this was a real turning point where I had to commit and go forward with it.
That's interesting because, yeah, I mean, okay, sometimes they are a bit, because they invest money, so they are very stressed around. But you're forcing to go full time. They don't always do that.
Yeah.
Especially because, 250,000. I'm not saying it's no money at all, but even with two people working full time, you take out a big chunk. Especially if you want to be alive, so you need to pay your food, your rent. So yeah, I guess at the beginning you take obviously low salary, but still that's forced you to do another funding quite fast.
Yeah, it definitely was a big milestone with what we had to do, but you're absolutely right. I think they just wanted my full attention on this.
Yeah, no, I say it makes sense for them to ask that, but still imposing, especially because it's not like you're doing something completely different. I mean, you're still in education, so in innovation or with like-minded people.
Yeah.
So okay, but they forced you. Oh, they asked you.
Forced. Absolutely. And you know what? I took it with open arms. I was like, "This is what I want to do." If we're taking this pre-seed capital, absolutely, we'll push forward with it. And then came a whole different element of the journey, and I would describe this part probably as rejection, right? And I think every founder goes through this at some point. When we raised the pre-seed, we didn't have that as much. We actually had people that really wanted to invest in us. We got investment from venture capitalists, the most active VC in the whole of Europe, several angels as well. But then after that was when we needed to, as you said, strategically use that capital to make it last, not become one of those 9 out of 10 where it doesn't work, and to leverage our resources to get to the next point where we could raise more funding. Now, this is where we moved into our new facility, which was in the University of Bath, and it gave us our space to be able to actually go and show people we could do this. Now, when I mentioned rejection, this was on several layers. This is with customers, right, where labs are hesitant, right? They want to be cautious with their waste. They have legal responsibilities with their duty of care of what they do with it. Waste management companies that, were stuck in their ways and maybe didn't want to be as innovative and try a new solution. And we had difficulties with grants, super competitive, going into a new industry. We were building a brand new market that didn't exist. And, we were fresh out of university with no experience, no resources, just a dream to challenge and be the first for this. And that's when, a lot of the no's started to happen.
Yeah, it probably helped you, though, to have done a bit of sales and even cold calling because
100%.
Kind of immune to the no's.
100%.
Might have been harder for your... Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Might have been harder for your co-founder. I don't know her experience, but sometimes it's what happens when you have a good idea, you can help, you can, and then it feels like no one else cares. Not that they don't, but it just, as you say, they are stuck into that very, very dangerous, let's say, that phrase of we have always done it like that.
Yeah.
So why change?
Yeah. And, this is a real crossing the chasm moment, right? When you're in a leadership position, as I was here now as a CEO of a young company that had funding, I didn't always have the data to make the decisions. You can't always wait to have all of the data to make it. You had to make that jump with it. So there will be elements where, you could maybe be privately uncertain. You have to be publicly confident in the way you portray yourself when you're managing customers, you're managing investor relations, and keep building on top of that every single day. I always say entrepreneurship is about becoming comfortable with being uncomfortable, because you never know what the day is going to throw at you. And 2 days are never the same.
Very true. So you can only doubt yourself in private.
Yeah.
In public, no, you know what you're doing, you know
100%.
everything, which makes sense. You don't have yet a big operation, so if you don't show that you trust yourself, no one else will.
Yeah.
Because
if you're in a leadership position, the people under you, they take in cue how you project yourself. And this is where you have to inspire, right? So then we went on our journey of having employees, and we've had several employees, part-time, full-time, many students. We took on a lot of internships whilst we were bootstrapping, probably over 40 students in total. And you learn how to manage them in certain capacities to get the best work out of them as well. And that was a very, very, very valuable experience.
Yeah, I can imagine, especially because not all, but a lot of students, even though they have maybe had some part-time job or a summer job, a lot of time those internships are the first real experience.
Yep.
So sometimes it's amazing because they're very excited. First time they are all in, and sometimes less.
100%. And this is where I'd call this part the weight of leadership, right? Where I had to build and also inspire. Mm-hmm. But one thing I'd also say as well, one thing I always try to tell them was always stay teachable. And this is the one lesson I abide by as well. You never know what you can learn from anyone, anywhere. And it's always about making sure you're open to this, whatever stage you're at with your career, because this will help you continue to elevate where you're going as well.
Yeah, true. It's a bit always, if you expand that a bit, it's a bit the difference between being confident and being arrogant. Being confident is like, you will be able to do it, but you don't know everything. You will learn, and then it will help you to get to it. But when you're maybe arrogant, sometimes not on purpose, just because you think you know better.
Absolutely.
And it's also usually when you go straight into a wall.
No.
And you either learn or...
Completely agree. But I stayed teachable along the journey. And entrepreneurship has been the best learning experience of my life. Whether I compare this to when I was at Curry's or, when I went to university, when I did that master's, when I was lecturing. In entrepreneurship, you learn so much so quickly. And I'm so thankful for that. And then came 2023, which was the real turning point for us. We got our first contract with the NHS, which was incredible validation for what we were doing. It was a great contract. We were working with private companies, also several universities. And then in 2024 was when the recognition started to slowly creep up a little bit more. We had some sort of student awards, which were, so. But at this point in 2024, we won Clean Tech Startup of the Year for the whole of the UK. So it was a real impactful moment that proved what we were doing really has legs.
Well done. Yeah, it's always, especially in the UK, the NHS is a bit...
it's tricky.
It's a cheat code. But once you're in, it's always a big difficult... I know that some people even, basically their business is introducing people to the NHS because
exactly.
It's such a close club, which also makes sense on their side. They cannot accept everyone because a big company like that must be selective.
Yeah.
But so getting through that must have felt pretty
Honestly,
amazing.
it was a massive moment in our journey. And what we did is we just continued to build on this and build with our customers, build our case studies. We started to build our network in the industry. People started to understand, they knew what the problem was. They knew there wasn't a solution. When we had our problem solution fit and we got into our new facility, we're working on our product market fit. How do we bring this service to people where they have the appetite, where it goes through procurement, goes through legal, and most importantly, we save them on carbon. So I haven't even alluded to the sustainability aspect of what we do, but by avoiding incineration, we reduce carbon emissions by 90%, which is massive scope 3 emission reduction and real progress towards net zero, which is why we got through to the NHS, which is why they went into their budgets and they were like, we need these guys, we're going to work with them. So we kept building on that. And 2025 was just a year of focused execution where we were, consolidating our offering, and then we were going for seed funding. And we thought, we have this now. We need to go and take this to the next level. So I was, approaching investors on a daily basis. Lots of no's, lots of not yets. And I think this was because we were the first, right? We were building what people call the impossible market. So they wanted to wait to see more. It's
always one of the frustrating challenges that they want to invest, but they just don't want to be the first one to come in. That's why
absolutely.
The leading investor is always so important.
Yeah.
But it showed that even when you have, have the NHS behind you. Let's say have the NHS as a client.
Yeah.
Even then, they're still a bit frisky a bit frizzy to come with you, which is quite insane because you think, guys, NHS.
Absolutely.
It's not a small client. It's not like, so
Yeah.
imagine the one who don't have yet the NHS and try to raise. It's
absolutely.
It's hell.
I think this alludes to one of the key themes of being an entrepreneur: persistence. You have to be persistent. You have to turn over every stone. You have to be, you are the expert in your own business. There's nobody else that's going to know more about it than yourself. And you have to lead with that confidence in every scenario you're in.
No, exactly. And I feel like also which you're right, to be a big fan of using, as you say, the leverage from everything you got, because sometimes you have many, but sometimes you just have a few cards to play. So you have to play them perfectly.
Yeah.
Especially with VC, which is terrible, but there are so many startups. Sometimes you have one shot.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, I went through several conversations, several layers of pitching, in-person pitching, online, going through all of these sort of pre-screening applications. And eventually, we were able to get to a point where we had enough validation, we had enough leverage, and we found the right investor startup fit. And this is very important as well, right? A lot of people think if someone's willing to give me money, that's fine, I'll take that. But there is an element of finding the right investor for you as a startup, because they'll be able to use their network, use their resources and their reputation. So you leverage their later free buckets for you to get further down the line. And they really are your partner in this.
Yeah, resources is money, but it's not only money. You have to be
absolutely. Yeah, it's way more.
Especially also from most VCs, their goal is to make money, but
Absolutely.
some of them also is technically a part of it is to still help whatever industry they are into. Especially for years, there is a sustainable. It's not just as I say, it's not fintech software you're doing. It's so there is a big part. If they don't believe in that, they might actually end up being not destructive, but slowing down your activities because they will push you into another direction.
Absolutely.
To make money.
Absolutely. So we kept knocking on the door, right? We kept looking to find that investor and to build this round. And, I can say this year we've now managed to close our seed round, which was a massive step in our journey. Along that point where I was saying problem solution fit, this was really 2019 to 2022 when we're doing it on the benchtop level. Product market fit is when we're really trying to refine that service. And we had our first big customers, such as NHS and the private companies we're working with. The next stage of building your startup is with the scaling part. And this seed funding was exactly what we've done. So in January, and just, as of April, we closed the last bit of it as well. We've managed to raise £1.55 million. And this would be for us to move to a new facility, to expand our team because we're extremely lean at the moment, and to really meet the demand, we have for our service, because this is it's a global problem. We have people contacting us all the time to be able to deal with their waste.
When you raise, especially the strategist and business side, so the CEO end up spending all his time or her time on the raise because it's a full-time job.
It's a full-time job, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And so it was not, I wouldn't say frustrating, but then because then everything is blocked, as long as you have to can also stay cold-headed because you don't want to cool-headed you don't want to start being frustrated with the VC because you still need them.
Investor relations are extremely important, and you'll have different types of investors. You get the angel investors that may be a little bit more hands-off. You get the VCs that really want to be there and help refine that strategy with you, which I'm very, very thankful for. They're really good at what they do and they've done it before as well. But it really is a different sort of mix with who you can have with that and how it turns out. And for the other part of your question, in terms of how you have to balance your workload, this is definitely something that shouldn't be underlooked. When you are the CEO and you're fundraising for your company and you're going for seed funding, which isn't a small feat, right? It really is a full-time job. And if not, it's more than that. But at the same time, you have to manage your company and run your company, which means you wear different hats. And you wear these hats every single day. 1 hour, you might be doing marketing. Next, human resources. Next, operations or accounting. But you have to make sure you balance all of it. And it definitely is a job where you have to be adaptable in what you do.
No, that's for sure. And on top of that, you have, the day-to-day. But since you're promising, first of all, to the VC, but also preparing for especially a big jump like going international, you also have to get ready for this. Yeah. So it must have been, quite hectic. Probably, I will guess work-life balance was taking a bit of a batter for just a few months.
It's definitely
Hopefully.
an interesting one. And I'd say my girlfriend Mira would definitely agree with that as well. Sometimes you do, and I'm very thankful for the support I do get from there as well. Sometimes I do have to work quite late. My working hours are not the same as others. So some people will get an email 9 o'clock at night, and that's because that's just when I'm working well, when I'm not getting emails from other people bombarding me about things like this. So the balance, it's different. People say you work Monday to Friday. As an entrepreneur, you work almost every single day. Your hours are different. So you really have to put in that work, and however much you put in is what you get out from it as well.
Sadly, but it's the less fancy side. It's
Yeah.
not what you show on social media, but it's what you have to do.
100%. And I would say entrepreneurship can be lonely. It's something where you believe in something where other people are not believing in it yet, especially being the first to do this. Having a team is brilliant, but it's also about your support network. My family are extremely supportive of what I do. They've always maybe not understood what exactly I do, but they believe in me, and that's enough for me to keep going. And then, as I mentioned, my girlfriend Mira, she really helps me to refine my ideas and, very importantly, keep me grounded. I'm very ambitious with my ideas, but there is an element where you need to be practical and look to execute what's in front of you. There's a saying that is very, very true. You have to control the controllables, right? You can't control everything. So there's an element of making sure you grow towards that as well.
No, true. You can have a dream, but if it's not at least a bit realistic dream, it will stay a dream.
Pipeline dream, yeah.
So no, but right now going very well. So I guess the team must be very excited.
Yeah, absolutely. We're doubling in team in the next month. So in the previous month, we've just been interviewing, which has been an incredible experience. Meeting some really, really talented people that will add to our team and create our skill set even better. So it's extremely exciting. It's an interesting challenge. I'm making the transition from doing everything myself, wearing all of these sort of hats, me and my co-founder both together, to having to bring people in, to delegate, to letting them learn, let them make mistakes so they can learn and they can build and grow as well. So I'm in that transition mode now, but I'm very grateful for the lessons it's teaching.
It's going to be interesting, to take off some responsibilities. It might sound nice because you think, okay, I have less responsibilities, but actually you might end up more stressed because you're like, it's someone else, so I don't really know what's happening.
Absolutely. But I just have to remember the key themes we talked about: being persistent, pivoting, and making sure you can adapt to the scenario that's in front of you.
And always remember with the employee that you hire them for a reason.
Absolutely, absolutely.
They should be able to do it.
Believe in people. They stay teachable, I stay teachable.
And this time won't hire only your friend. Like in
Yeah.
No, but I think, I guess, are you still, for example, hiring a lot from recent graduates?
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
It's an incredible talent pool there. And again, they're the ones that are extremely teachable. So they're the ones that we can look to grow with as well. And we're really looking for that long-term potential for people that, understand the values of what we're doing and who we are, and then B, that have that hunger to look to go and build and grow with us, that the people we look for.
True, and also they have more of that openness, because even not on purpose, but when you work a few years, for example, in an industry, you end up with the ideas of the industry. And if it's, we have to burn every plastic, it might not be the best thing to do to come into life cycle. So it's interesting. And are you moving staying around Bath, or?
We're going slightly east, so towards Chippenham. So we can have, London would be great, but there's an element of having a big industrial unit, which will be able to grow with us as well. And then also it's strategically and logistically placed to, meet certain logistic routes so we can get the waste transferred to.
Okay, because as I said, it's less of a software, more hardware, let's say. So you need big facilities. And in London, well, except that you might not find one at all. It's price and as you say, the logistic. You might pay ULEZ to have your truck to bring the plastic.
But, we have extremely ambitious plans. The UK is just the start for us, right? It's a global problem where there's going to be such incredible impact that we create together that we will, go to London, go to other places and scale this internationally. So it's a journey I'm very much so looking forward to.
Exactly, going to be nice. Going to be very interesting. And it's good, as you say, you have all those soft skills to adaptability. And I think they're going to be put into the big challenge for everyone, because even just to start with Europe, love Europe, but we are very special with all our country.
Yeah.
And going to France will be probably the hardest.
There'll be challenges, but I'm looking forward to that. And the journey is still sounds like I've gone through a whole history from 2019 to here, but still very much so is at the start, and something I'm very ready for.
To be honest, cannot wait to see where this will be going to. Good thing you're around, so I can just ask you.
Yeah.
But yeah, good luck. Well done for the seed. Must have been
Thank you very much.
Since April, so you're just
Yeah.
starting. Going very good.
Yeah.
Growing the team, changing. So yeah, it's going to be very exciting month, I think, for you.
Very exciting times. Very busy, but very thankful and grateful for it. I've always said pressure is a privilege, so I welcome it.
Thank you for being here. Amazing story. And yeah, as said, me and hopefully everyone watching and listening to that cannot wait to see where you're going with that.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for having me today.